Jake was still chuckling at some dumb joke he'd made as we stepped out of his car, my boots crunching softly on the driveway I'd dreamed of for 18 months. I hoisted my duffel bags, the setting sun spilling golden light across the quiet suburb I hadn't laid eyes on in nearly 2 years. It felt surreal, like stepping into a snapshot from a former life. I was home. I'd been deployed overseas on assignment with military intelligence, operating under federal directive. Now finally back, my plan was simple: surprise my wife and kids, maybe a few tears, a group hug, something quiet, intimate, human. Jake, my brother-in-law and partner in crime for this covert op, was helping me sneak into the house and stake a small welcome home banner on the lawn. Nothing flashy, just a warm little signal of joy for my family. I was still in uniform, jet-lagged but wired on adrenaline and anticipation. We were halfway to the front door when it happened. A voice, sharp and cold as steel, cut through the peace. "Excuse me, what exactly do you think you're doing?" I turned, and there she was, marching across the street like a general inspecting enemy lines, clipboard in hand, lips tight, pearl necklace bobbing with each indignant step. Deborah Winters, the self-appointed queen of the HOA, enforcer of shrub height, dictator of trash can etiquette. Around the neighborhood, people whispered her nickname behind closed doors, Karen. I'd heard about her from my wife during video calls. Warnings mostly. I thought she was exaggerating. I was wrong. "Hi there," I said, keeping my voice even. "Just coming home to surprise my family." Deborah's eyes narrowed like I'd just confessed to arson. "And you are?" "James Parker. I live here." She ignored the outstretched hand and instead gestured to the modest welcome banner Jake had just finished setting in the grass. Section 7, Paragraph 3 of the HOA guidelines clearly states that all lawn decorations must be submitted for approval 14 days in advance, she barked. Then, narrowing in on my uniform, she sniffed. "Is this a costume party?" I took a breath. Deep, controlled. "Ma'am, I've been deployed for a year and a half. The banner will be down tonight. I just wanted to give my family a moment to smile." "Rules are rules, Mr. Parker. If that's even your real name." She crossed her arms. "And did you file an extended absence form before abandoning the property? What about your lawn? We sent 3 citations last summer over grass height." Jake, normally calm, stepped in. "Deborah, come on. James has been serving overseas. He's not trying to violate anything." But she wasn't listening. She was busy pulling out her phone, not to welcome me home, but to take pictures of the banner, of me, of my uniform. "Please don't photograph me without my consent," I said now firmly. "I've been traveling for over 30 hours. I just want to settle in before my family gets here." "I have every right," she snapped. "This is HOA property. You could be impersonating military personnel, which is a federal offense. Show me your ID." I reached slowly for my wallet and pulled out my federal credentials. But the second she caught a glimpse of the sidearm holstered beneath my jacket, she gasped loud enough to startle birds from the trees. "Is that a weapon?" "Yes, ma'am. I'm a federal agent. Active status. I'm authorized to carry. You're welcome to verify." "A likely story," she cut me off. "Fake uniforms, fake badges, and now a weapon? I'm calling 911. Jake's eyes widened. "Deb, seriously?" But she was already dialing, breathless with righteous excitement, telling the dispatcher she had an armed imposter on her lawn. I calmly took out my phone and started recording. "Ma'am, I'm documenting this. You're making false claims to law enforcement, which is a federal offense. I've identified myself and shown valid ID." She shrieked back, "Stop recording me. That's a violation of HOA privacy. Section 12, Paragraph 7. Federal law supersedes HOA bylaws," I said plainly, and then I waited. For the next 20 minutes, she paced on my lawn, spinning an increasingly dramatic version of events into her phone. When the police arrived, 2 officers, tense and cautious, I raised my hands in plain view and spoke clearly. "Agent James Parker, federal clearance. I've just returned from deployment. Here's my ID." One of the officers, himself a veteran, gave me a respectful nod. "Welcome home, Agent Parker. Sorry about the welcome committee." But Deborah wasn't done. "This is outrageous. He broke HOA rules. That banner is unauthorized. The officer turned to her, unimpressed. Ma'am, you called 911 over a welcome home sign? I called about a suspicious armed impersonator who had already identified himself on video. That's a criminal offense. Her face turned pale, then deep red. I was protecting the community, she insisted. Anyone can buy a uniform online. The second officer looked up from his notes. Did he identify himself before your call? She hesitated. He showed me something. I wasn't sure if it was real. I stepped in. Officers, I won't press charges if Miss Winters is willing to leave peacefully. My family will be here soon. I'd rather focus on them. They gave her a chance to walk away. She took it, but not gracefully. This isn't over, she hissed. Expect a violation notice. The HOA board will hear about this. She stormed off, clipboard clutched like a shield. I thought that would be the end of it. I was wrong. Less than an hour later, she blasted a neighborhood-wide email warning residents about unverified individuals claiming military status and encouraging people to report suspicious activity, clearly aimed at me. But when my wife and kids finally pulled into the driveway, all of it, the drama, the threats, the absurdity, melted away. My little girl threw herself into my arms. My wife was crying. Jake stood back, smiling like a proud co-conspirator. It was perfect until the next morning. Taped to my front door was a formal HOA violation notice. Unauthorized signage failure to submit extended absence documentation, intimidation of HOA personnel, $500 fine, increasing by $50 per day worse. A motion had been filed to begin eviction proceedings. That was the last straw. I spent the entire next day collecting stories from neighbors, people who'd been quietly steamrolled by Deborah for years. A cancer patient cited for leaving out her bins. An elderly vet fined for planting unapproved flowers. A family threatened over a child's basketball hoop. With their statements in hand and my recorded footage, I went straight to the HOA legal team. I outlined my federal status, her false report, the harassment. The legal exposure was clear. They didn't need much convincing. 2 days later, the board held an emergency meeting. Deborah Winters was removed as HOA president, unanimously, fined $2,000 for abuse of authority and risking legal liability. I was there when they told her. Her mouth opened, closed. Her eyes darted. For once, the clipboard hung limp at her side. She didn't say a word, because sometimes even petty tyrants get held accountable. If this story gripped you, from surprise homecomings to the downfall of a suburban despot, go ahead and hit like and subscribe. You won't want to miss what's coming next in the world of real-life drama, comebacks, and neighborhood justice.